Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a bit different. Instead of a montage, I'd like to have a discussion regarding a topic that has become more and more popular, which is whether you should switch to ALCS. So for those who don't know, ALCS is another option found in the controller section in settings. Its purpose is to give a better experience with fine-tuning your settings to your own liking. On the surface level, ALCs are great, you get to really magnify upon the small details like dead zones and your vertical and horizontal speed. However, there are also a number of cons that goes with using ALCs that I personally have dealt with, as well as seen from other players. Just to preface this video, this discussion is based on opinion, and as a casual player who occasionally sweats, I was hoping to maybe shed light to newer players who are debating making the switch. So feel free to leave your thoughts down below, as I'd love to expand on this discussion. So let's start with the pros. I think the main reason why people love to use ALCs is the recoil control, and this is due to the popularity of the linear response curve as seen by players like Jen Burden and Ecstasy. Personally, I think using ALCs if you're a linear player would benefit you more just because the response curve is entirely based on micro adjustments and small movements on your stick. So less effort is really required to push your stick up or down, making recoil incredibly easier to control. ALCs can also help your dead zone, another crucial factor as there is a lot of stick drift that comes with linear, so you're pretty much adjusting how responsive your sticks are. Not only does ALCs help you with your aim, but I think the most enticing reason why people want to switch is because of the movement, the fluidity that comes with the sense having no restraints in a way. You see a lot of these YouTube videos that say best controller movement, best controller configuration, and those movement texts are typically paired with ALCs. But the issue here is that ALCs are arguably a higher skill gap to adapt to, therefore newer players might struggle with finding their perfect sense. By using Jen Burden, for example, or other players' settings, a few, if not most, are disappointed with the results. They think that their settings will automatically equate to aimbot and the perfect aim, when in reality, ALCs are solely made for individual preference. Therefore, one person's settings might not be for you. I just want to emphasize again that I'm not talking about the collective. I know there are a lot of players who love their ALCs, who found out that it has worked wonders for them, so I'm just saying this is all personal preference and opinion. Like I said, I played ALCs myself. ALCs linear actually, for 2 years, and it definitely helped me become a better player and helped my movement for sure. However, there's a reason why a lot of pro controller players use default settings. For example, Stay Naughty uses 4.4, Verhalts uses 4.3, pretty sure Noctu was also a former ALC user, even switched to 4.4 Classic. They may not be in ALCs, but these players are all insane and known as one of the top players of Apex. And why? Because the default settings are reliable. They are specifically created for the game, by the game. They have been tested and created to optimize your Apex experience. Apex itself already has one of the most fluid movements in the game, and ALCs and all of this fast movement tech are just bonus style points in my opinion. These default settings are made to be the best possible settings for the game's mechanics, and because ALCs are quite complicated, people will often change their settings if they have one bad game or one bad session. This is a con, and I was guilty of this too. It's not the settings, it's you, because most of the time these settings have been duplicated from other people. There are a plethora of ALC settings on my YouTube homepage and on my TikTok, every day claiming they have the best sense for aimbot and recoil control. Therefore, default settings I believe already do that job for you. It's reliable, it's quick and easy, and it's proven to be the most consistent if you look at the majority of the pro players and pro teams that use controller. A handful of them are just using default settings. So is the switch worth it? In my opinion, no. I think you can be a great player with just the default settings. I haven't seen these kind of settings in COD or Halo, which have the option of fine-tuning your settings in magnified detail, and yet these games have been one of the biggest games in esports, and very talented players have emerged from them. ALCs isn't exactly an unnecessary option that Respawn has made, but I think it shouldn't be seen as a free pass to automatically become a controller aimbot lord. I think you can still be a better player without movement and tap strafing. And I will always stand by aim over movement, everything else is really just a bonus. But if you're up for a challenge and want to see how far you can excel as a player, definitely use ALCs. If you're looking for a new experience or the game just feels off to you, yes, I would recommend the switch. It is fun to experiment the different response curves, but at the same time, you're more prone to switching it every other day, which really hinders your muscle memory. Overall, as a former ALC user, I'm just gonna stick with Classic 4.4. It does the job, it's consistent, and it does really well both long range and short range once you get used to it. Truthfully, I would turn on ALCs once in a while if I feel bored or want to spice things up with my gameplay, but I would always find myself going back to default settings, with good reasoning. And if the issue is movement with the default settings, I recommend using 110 FOV. It makes you see more and everything appears faster, at least in my opinion. That's it for now. Leave your comments down below. I'm really interested on your guys' takes and if you think ALCs are beneficial or a scam. See you next time.